text. Now, our goal today is to talk about what the different elements of an argumentative text are and what elements that text contains. Because, as you've probably noticed in the lessons, you've started to work on your own argumentative text. So this week I wanted to talk with you about the structure of that text and what types of elements should be included in an argumentative text. And then we'll evaluate a text together for those specific elements. So the first letter in our access code today, so make sure you're writing this down. A lot of you have emailed me and said, I didn't hear it, so pay attention. When I mention access code, you need to pay attention. So the first letter in the access code is B. B as in boy. B. Not the word boy, just the letter B. B as in boy. All right, so that's the first letter in the access code. All right, on to argumentative text. So as you can see on the screen, I have a bunch of different elements listed. So I want you to think back to the last time you tried to persuade somebody to do something or to believe a certain way. What was your purpose in doing that? So the purpose of an argumentative text is to persuade someone to a specific viewpoint or position, right? So you're going to be persuading them to believe one way or the other. So you want to make sure that you have a clear stance in your argumentative text. So listed underneath the second sentence there are 5 different elements to a successful argumentative text. The first is a claim. You can consider this your thesis statement. This is your statement of position that you want your audience to accept. It's very important that you are not wishy-washy here. You want to make sure that your stance is definitive and that it's very clear to your reader where you stand on the topic. Second, you need to have some reasons why the claim is valid. Your reader's not going to change his or her mind to come over to your side of the belief fence if you don't have reasons that are valid. If you just say, well, you should believe this way because I do, not a good enough reason. Third, you should have evidence. This is the data to back up why your claim is valid. So you might have the reasons, but what backs up that evidence? What backs up that claim? That would be your evidence. Counterclaim and rebuttal. These two, in my opinion, go together. You can't have one without the other. A counterclaim is identifying the opposing argument in your essay, and the rebuttal is the explanation of why the opposing argument is invalid. Now, a lot of students ask me, where should I include these in my essay? Should they be at the beginning? Should they be in the middle? Should they be at the end? In my opinion, they should be towards the end of your essay. You should not introduce your opposing argument before you've really made a good argument for your own side of the argument. But it's important to include it in there in a place where you can also include a rebuttal. And the rebuttal is the explanation of why the opposing argument is invalid. So why is it important to understand your audience in an argumentative essay? Well, to appeal to them, to keep them interested, and to avoid alienating them. So it's important to understand who we're talking to because we want to understand their viewpoint. So this is another good reason why we have a counterclaim in an essay like this. It's important to understand where our audience stands on the spectrum. We probably, if we're writing a persuasive text, we are not writing to the people who already believe the same way we do. We're writing to the people whose minds we either want to change or who are kind of in the middle on the fence and don't know which way to go. So we want to make sure that we aren't alienating them by using verbiage that's too strong or that they don't understand, or that using ideas that are perhaps overly in your face and a voice that's super in your face. You want to make sure your voice is appropriate. You don't want to start out being like, anybody who disagrees with me is not very smart. Okay, well, the minute you say that, I'm like on the defensive. And if I haven't even made up my mind yet, I'm already on the defensive because it feels like you're attacking the reader. So you do not want to attack your reader. So I'm going to go, the word voice at the very bottom where it says voice, this is what I'm talking about. You want to make sure that the attitude and the tone of your essay is respectful at all times to your audience. You might not persuade them, but you want them to walk away having had a good experience so that their mind isn't completely closed off to the ideas you've presented. If you're offensive in your language or offensive in your tone, they might not be willing to listen to you again or listen to anybody with the same argument again. So these are the 5 elements that you should include in an argumentative text. We're going to take a look at an argumentative text now and work towards determining the different elements of that text. Let's take a look at this essay. We're not going to read through the entire thing because it's a page and a half, but I want to just talk with you a little bit about the structure of this argumentative essay about the importance of recess. Now, the person who wrote this decided to put their claim in there first as their title, which is fine. I would like you, though, to make sure that you include a thesis statement that also includes your claim. But so the very first sentence, it's highlighted there, says, students who lose recess are the ones who need it most. This right here is our claim. That recess is important, that students who lose recess are the ones who need it most. We can discern from that statement that she's going to claim that students should not lose recess for any reason. So when we read through this, we can identify the other elements of a persuasive text. So in this one, she starts off with some reasoning straight out of the bat. She says, despite overwhelming evidence that periods of unstructured play and social interaction are a crucial part of children's cognitive, academic, physical, and mental wellness, schools continue to take away recess privileges as a penalty for academic or behavioral transgressions. So this is why it's happening, right? So these are one of the reasons why kids are losing recess in general. So this is an important start to our essay because that background information, those background reasons, set up our claim. She goes on to talk about having done it herself as an educator, but then she comes and she tells us a little bit about some statistical information about how many principals do indeed reserve this type of punishment, the removing of recess for students who have misbehaved. So remember back to her title was students who need recess the most are losing it, right? Sorry, I can't remember the exact title. Students who lose recess are the ones who need it most. So 77% of school principals report that they withhold recess as punishment. Okay, so that identifies for us that there are a lot of high school or elementary school principals out there who do this action. So it's a valid concern in which the writer holds. She goes on to talk about how 8 in 10 principals acknowledge that time to play has a positive impact on achievement. So here she's using some more evidence in her argument's favor to identify the importance of recess in having a positive impact on achievement. So now she's backing up her reasoning of not removing recess from kids who act out using evidence. So we have our reasoning, our claim, our evidence. So as we continue to look through the essay, she does continue to include information about the importance of recess. She includes some more evidence here, which is valuable evidence because it's from the Academy of Pediatrics. So there's a lot of clout in that the morality of the source. We can look at the source and be like, oh, it's a group of doctors who takes care of kids all day. They really must know what they're talking about, right? So now we have reasoning and evidence to help us build our argument. So then she goes on to talk about the physical benefits of recess. Oh, we should pause and I should give you your second access code letter is I. Your second access code letter is I. Recess provides an opportunity to refill children's reserves of self-control through play and expression that's free from structure. These are some more reasons color did I make the reasons? Green. Some more reasons, and all through here, I could highlight all of these things as green. So she continues to go on to talk about the importance of recess in a child's life. She then here restates the argument or her claim. If we truly want our children to function at their academic, physical, and mental best, teachers need to stop withholding recess, and schools need to protect it. Cutting into or taking away recess time is counterintuitive and self-defeating. So this can also be a restating of the argument and her rebuttal. I'm going to change it to this really bright. Oh, it did not change. Change it to this really bright color. There we go. Oh, now I made it a random green color because I didn't take the yellow off, even though it would do that. Okay, so she's rebutting her argument here, restating her claim as her rebuttal. So you might ask me, where is her counter argument? Because I was so adamant in that previous video about there being a counter argument, right? So her counter argument is in the fact that she's done this herself, that she recognizes that 77% of school principals report that they do this, that this is something she too has practiced, that it is something that is just part of the educational system, and that people think that it is an okay way to punish. Oops, sorry about that. An okay way to punish students, even though they recognize the benefits of recess. So she's utilizing that viewpoint, coupling it with her previous experience as her counter argument. All right, so now what I want you to do is I'm going to give you the last letter in your access code, and you are going to go to the quizzes tab in our class, and you're going to take the quiz. There's going to be some questions about the videos, but there's also going to be a new article for you to take a look at and do what I just did here. All right, thank you so much. Oh, your last letter is G. Hopefully you remembered the other two letters. Last letter is G.